Get cozy. It's time for more politically correct bedtime stories. Slip on some PJs, get a yummy cup of hot cocoa or warm milk or a glass of wine, whatever you prefer, and get cozy because it's time for some more politically correct bedtime stories. So last time we read Little Red Riding Hood, The Emperor's New Clothes, and The Three Little Pigs. And if you'd like to see that, just click on this. I'll put a card up here, wherever. Now on to Rumpelstiltskin. Long ago, in a kingdom far away, there lived a miller who was economically disadvantaged. This miller shared his humble dwelling with his only daughter, an independent young woman named Esmeralda. Now, the miller was very ashamed of his poverty rather than angry at the economic system that had marginalized him, and was always searching for a way to get rich quick. If only I could get my daughter to marry a rich man, he mused, in a sexist and archaic way. She'll be fulfilled and I'll never have to work another day in my life. To this shabby inn, he had an inspiration. He would start a rumor that his daughter was able to spin common barnyard straw into pure gold. With this untruth, he would be able to attract attention of many rich men and marry off Esmeralda. The rumor spread through the kingdom in a manner that just happened to be like wildfire and soon reached the prince. As greedy and gullible as most of the men of his station, he believed the rumor and invited Esmeralda to the castle for a May Day festival. But when she arrived, he had her thrown into a dungeon filled with straw and ordered her to spin it into gold. Locked in the dungeon, fearing for her life, Esmeralda sat on the floor and wept. Never had the exploitativeness of the patriarchy been made so apparent to her. As she cried, a diminutive man in a funny hat appeared in the dungeon. "Why are you crying, my dear?" he asked. Esmeralda was startled, but answered him, "The prince has ordered me to spin all this straw into gold." "But why are you crying?" he asked again. "Because it can't be done." "What are you, especially abled or something?" The differently statured man laughed and said, "Dearie, you are thinking too much. With the left side of your brain you are. But you are in luck. I will show you how to perform this task, yes. But first you must promise to give me what I want in return." With no alternative, Esmeralda gave her assent. To turn the straw into gold, they took it to a nearby farmers' cooperative, where it was used to thatch an old roof. With a drier home, the farmers became healthier and more productive, and they brought forth a record harvest of wheat for local consumption. The children of the kingdom grew strong and tall, went to a cooperative school, and gradually turned the kingdom into a model democracy with no economic or sexual injustice and low infant mortality rates. For his part, the prince was captured by an angry mob and stabbed to death with pitchforks outside the palace. As new investment money poured in from all over the world, the farmers remembered Esmeralda's generous gift of straw and rewarded her with numerous chests of gold. When all this was done, the diminutive man in the funny hat laughed and said, "That is how you turn straw into gold." Then his expression became menacing. "Now that I have done my work, you must fulfill your part of the bargain. You must give me your first-born child." Esmeralda shot back at him. "I don't have to negotiate with anyone who would interfere with my reproductive rights." The vertically challenged man was taken aback by the conviction in her voice. Deciding on a change in tactics, he said slyly, "Fair enough, dearie. I'll let you out of the bargain if you can guess what my name is." "All right," said Esmeralda. She paused a second, tapped her chin with her finger, and said, "Would your name be, oh, I don't know, maybe Rumpelstiltskin?" "Ah!" shrieked the man of non-standard height. But, how did you know?" She replied, "You were still wearing your name badge from the Little People's Empowerment Seminar." Rumpelstiltskin screamed in anger and stamped his foot, at which point the earth cracked open and swallowed him up in a rush of smoke and sulfur. With her gold, Esmeralda moved to California to open a birth control clinic where she showed other women how to not be enslaved by their reproductive systems and lived to the end of her days as a fulfilled, dedicated, single person. I love these stories. Okay, so the next story is the 3 Codependents Goats Gruff. Yummy. Once on a lovely mountainside lived 3 goats who were related as siblings. Their name was Gruff, and they were a very close family. During the winter months, they lived in a lush green valley, eating grass and doing other things in a naturally goatish manner. When summer came, they would travel up the mountainside to where the pasture was sweeter. This way, they did not overgraze their valley and kept their ecological footprint as small as possible. To get to this pasture, the goats had to cross a bridge over a wide chasm. When the first days of summer came, one goat set out to cross the bridge. This goat was the least chronologically accomplished of the siblings and thus had achieved the least superiority in size. When he reached the bridge, he lashed on his safety helmet and grasped the handrail. But as he began to cross, a menacing growl came from beneath the bridge. Over the railing and onto the bridge leapt a troll, hairy, dirt accomplished, and odor enhanced. "Yarg!" intoned the troll. "I am the keeper of this bridge, and while goats may have the right to cross it, I'll eat any that try." "But why, Mr. Troll?" bleated the goat. "Because I am a troll, and proud of it. I have a troll's needs, and those needs include eating goats. So, you better respect them, or else." The goat was frightened. "Certainly, sir," he stammered. "If eating me would help you become a more complete troll, nothing would please me more. But I really can't commit to that course of action without first consulting my siblings. Will you excuse me?" And the goat ran back to the valley. Next, the medium sibling goat came up to the bridge. This goat was more chronologically advanced than the first goat, and so enjoyed an advantage in size, although this did not make him a better or more deserving goat. He was about to cross the bridge when the troll stopped him. "Nature has made me a troll," he said, "and I embrace my trollhood. Would you deny me my right to live the life of a troll as fully, as effectively as I can?" "Me? Never!" exclaimed the goat proudly. "Then stand there while I come over and eat you up. And don't try to run away. I would take that as a personal affront." He began to invade the goat's caprinal space. "However," blurted the goat, "I have a very close family, and it would be selfish of me to allow myself to be eaten without asking their opinion. I have respect for their feelings too. I would hate to think that my absence would cause them any emotional stress if I hadn't first." "Go then," screamed the troll. "I'll rush back here as soon as we reach a consensus," the goat said, "for it's not fair to keep you in suspense." "You are too kind," sighed the troll, and the goat ran back to the valley. As his hunger grew, the troll began to feel a real grievance toward the goats. If he didn't get to eat at least one of them, he was determined to go to the authorities. When the third goat came to the bridge, the troll discovered that he was nearly twice the troll's size, with large, sharp horns and hard, heavy hooves. The troll felt his physical intimidation prerogative fading fast. As fear turned his insides into jelly, the troll sank to his knees and pleaded, "Oh, please, please forgive me. I was using you and your goat siblings for my own selfish ends. I don't know what drove me to do it, but I've seen the error of my ways." The goat, too, got down on what passed for knees in goats and said, Now, you can't take all the blame for yourself. Our presence and supreme edibility put you in this situation. My siblings and I all feel terrible. Please, you must forgive us." The troll began to sob. No, it's all my fault. I threatened and bullied you all, just for the sake of my own survival. How selfish I was." But the goat would have none of this. We were the selfish ones. We only wanted to save our own skins, and we totally neglected your needs. Please, eat me now." "No," the troll said. "You must butt me off this bridge for my insensitivity and selfishness." "I'll do no such thing," said the goat, "since we all tempted you in the first place. Here, have a chomp. Go ahead." "I'm telling you," the troll insisted, standing up. "I'm the guilty one here. Now knock me off this bridge and be quick about it." "Look," said the goat, rearing up to his full height. "No one is going to take away my blame for this, not even you. So eat me before I pop you in the nose." "Don't play guiltier than thou with me, Hornhead." "Hornhead? You smelly hairball. I'll show you guilt." And with that, they wrestled and bit and punched and kicked as each sought to don the mantle of blame. The other two goats bounded up to the bridge and sized up the fight. Feeling guilty at not accepting enough of the blame, they joined the others in a whirling ball of hair, hooves, horns, and teeth. But the little bridge was not built to carry such weight. It shook and swayed and finally buckled, hurling the troll and the three codependent goats gruff into the chasm. On their way down, they each felt relieved that they would finally get what they deserved. Plus, as a bonus, a little extra guilt for the fate of the others. The end. What do you guys think of the voices? Do you like them? Or do you prefer I just like read it straight? I think the voices are kind of fun, but... Okay. So the last story that I'll read for this part is Rapunzel. There once lived an economically disadvantaged tinker and his wife. His lack of material accomplishment is not meant to imply that all tinkers are economically marginalized, or that if they are, they deserve to be so. While the archetype of the tinker is generally the whipping person in classical bedtime stories, this particular individual was a tinker by trade and just happened to be economically disadvantaged. The tinker and his wife lived in a little hovel next to the modest estate of a local witch. From their window, they could see the witch's meticulously kept garden, a nauseating attempt to impose human notions of order onto nature. The wife of the tinker was pregnant, and as she gazed at the witch's garden, she began to crave some of the lettuce she saw growing there. She begged the tinker to jump the fence and get some for her. The tinker finally submitted, and at night he jumped the wall and liberated some of the lettuce. But before he could get back, the witch caught him. Now, this witch was very kindness impaired. This is not meant to imply that all or even some witches are that way, nor to deny this particular witch her right to express whatever disposition came naturally to her. Far from it. Her disposition was without doubt due to many factors of her upbringing and socialization, which unfortunately must be omitted here in the interest of brevity. As mentioned earlier, the witch was kindness impaired, and the tinker was extremely frightened. She held him by the scruff of the neck and asked, "Where are you going with my lettuce?" The tinker might have argued with her over the concept of ownership and stated that the lettuce rightfully belonged to anyone who was hungry and had nerve enough to take it. Instead, in a degrading spectacle, he pleaded for mercy. "It was my wife's fault," he cried in a characteristically male manner. "She's pregnant and she's craving for some of your lovely lettuce. Please spare me. Although a single-parent household is certainly acceptable, please don't kill me and deprive my child of a stable two-parent family structure." The witch thought for a moment, then let go of the tinker's neck and disappeared without a word. The tinker gratefully went home with the lettuce. A few months later, and after agonizing pain that a man will never really be able to appreciate, the tinker's wife gave birth to a beautiful, healthy pre-woman. They named the baby Rapunzel, after a type of lettuce. Not long after this, the witch appeared at their door, demanding that they give her the child in return for the witches having spared the tinker's life in the garden. What could they do? Their powerless station in life had always left them open to exploitation, and this time they felt they had no alternative. They gave Rapunzel to the witch, who sped away. The witch took the child deep into the woods and imprisoned her in a tall tower, the symbolism of which should be obvious. There Rapunzel grew into womanhood. The tower had no doors or stairs, but it did boast a single window at the top. The only way for anyone to get to the window was for Rapunzel to let down her long, luxurious hair and climb it to the top, the symbolism of which should also be obvious. The witch was Rapunzel's only companion. She would stand at the foot of the tower and shout, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair, that I may climb your golden stair." Rapunzel obediently did as she was told. Thus for years she let her body be exploited for the transportation needs of another. The witch loved music and taught Rapunzel to sing. They passed many long hours singing together in the tower. One day, a young prince rode near the tower and heard Rapunzel singing. But as he rode closer to find the source of the lovely sound, he spied the witch and hid himself and his equine companion in the trees. He watched as the witch called out to Rapunzel, the hair fell down, and the witch climbed up. Again, he heard the beautiful singing. Later, when the witch finally exited the tower and disappeared in the other direction, the prince came out of the woods and called up, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair, that I may climb your golden stair." The hair cascaded from the window, and he climbed up. When the prince saw Rapunzel, her greater than average physical attractiveness, and her long, luxurious hair led him to think, in a typically lookist way, that her personality would also be beautiful. This is not to imply that all princes judge people solely on their appearance, nor to deny this particular prince his right to make such assumptions. Please see the disclaimers in the paragraphs above. The prince said, "Oh, beautiful damsel, I hear you singing as I rode by on my horse. Please sing for me again." Rapunzel didn't know what to make of this person, since she had never seen a man up close before. He seemed a strange creature, large, hairy in the face, and possessing a strong musky odor. For reasons she could not explain, Rapunzel found this combination somewhat attractive and opened her mouth to sing. "Stop right there!" screamed a voice from the window. The witch had returned. How did you get up here?" Rapunzel asked. "I had an extra set of hair made in case of emergency," said the witch matter-of-factly, "and this certainly looks like one. Listen to me, Prince. I built this tower to keep Rapunzel away from men like you. I taught her to sing, training her voice for years. She'll stay here and sing for no one but me, because I am the only one who truly loves her." "We can talk about your codependency problems later," said the prince. "But first, let me hear... Rapunzel, is it? Let me hear Rapunzel sing." "No!" screamed the witch. "I'm going to throw you from this tower into the thorn of colored bushes below, so that your eyes will be gouged out and you'll wander the countryside cursing your bad luck for the rest of your life." "You may want to reconsider that," said the prince. "I have some friends in the recording industry, you see, who would be very interested in Rapunzel, wasn't it? Different, kind of catchy, I suppose." "I knew it! You want to take her from me!" No, I want you to continue to train her, to nurture her, as her manager," said the prince. "Then when the time is right, say a week or two, you can unleash your talent on the world and we can all rake in the cash." The witch paused for a second to think about this, and her demeanor visibly softened. She and the prince began to discuss record contracts and video deals, as well as possible marketing ideas, including lifelike Rapunzel dolls, with their very own miniature stereo-tuned towers. As Rapunzel watched, her suspicions turned into revulsion. For years, her hair had been exploited for the transportational needs of others. Now they wanted to exploit her voice as well? So, rapaciousness does not depend solely on gender? She realized with a sigh. Rapunzel edged her way to the window without being seen. She stepped out and climbed down the second set of hair to the prince's waiting horse. She dislodged her hair and took it with her as she rode off, leaving the witch and the prince to argue about royalties and percentages and their phallus-shaped tower. Rapunzel rode to the city and rented a room in a building that had real stairs. She later established the nonprofit foundation for the free proliferation of music and cut off her hair for a fundraising auction. She sang for free in coffee houses and art galleries for the rest of her days, always refusing to exploit for money other people's desires to hear her sing. The end. So what was your favorite story? Comment down below and let me know. Well, I hope you guys are enjoying these bedtime stories. If you are, give me a big thumbs up. If you'd like to hear more of these stories, click that subscribe button down below. And until next time, remember to always be completely you.